Alrighty, this time talking to Queen Garan is gonna be really weird.
So about your sister that you've had locked up in a monastery somewhere.
After starting a coup.
And after framing, Apollo's father for killing the queen.
So about your daughter that doesn't appear to be your daughter. And your husband that I think you assassinated.
We're the Bittersweet Gamers?
Assassinating husbands everywhere. I'm the opinionator.
I'm We Square.
I love taking things out of context.
The royal guard isn't around. Why were we let inside?
That is utter hooey! You cannot continue to deceive the people like that! Heavens to Betsy!
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Rayfa, justice is much more than simply speaking the truth. Is that Princess Rayfa and Queen Garan over there in the throne room of the palace?
Without guards?
Well, I mean, in the throne room of the palace, we find the queen and the princess. Not entirely surprising. You deceived me too, Mother. How can I ever believe a word you say again? You nincompoop! Oh!
Your benevolence. I couldn't help but overhear because you're both yelling and there weren't any guards to stop us.
You're a nincompoop too! Ah! You impudent!
Ah! Ow!
Are you okay, Mr. Wright? I can't believe she actually punched you and then a little star came out as it made that katonk noise, which is kind of cute. How did she do that?
Spiritual powers. Yeah, I'm used to it by now.
Ah, you and getting hit by young girls.
What's the matter with the princess?
What an understatement! It sounded like she was arguing with her mother.
Maybe it has something to do with this picture.
Maybe it does.
Rayfa said she had to ask her mother about some secret or another as soon as she saw it.
Yep. So then, does that mean that Princess Rayfa knows what really happened? That Amara wasn't assassinated and is still very much alive?
It would seem so, and she doesn't seem to be taking Garan's lies very well. But that's no surprise, considering how much Rayfa reveres her mother.
All right, let's go accuse the Queen of Lies in her country, in the midst of a revolution, in her palace, while there's a mob outside. It's just, am I the only person who thinks this is not going to end well?
That would definitely cause her a great deal of anguish and sadness.
Eavesdropping, are we? How very rude.
You should talk inside a private room if you don't want people overhearing.
This is the throne room of the palace. My palace, because I am the queen. This is my throne room in my palace in my country.
Well, there weren't any guards to keep us out.
You there. Are you not Dhurke's son? Oh! Nice to meet you, Your Eminence. We're actually here to speak with you if you could spare a moment.
Your Eminence, do you know?
What have we here? It's the attorney's badge used by lawyers like me back home. Well, in this country, lawyers are a loathsome breed. And we would advise you not to needlessly advertise your place among their ranks. For even now, the bad karma Dhurke has engendered brings woe to your kind. It's a simple matter of cause and effect. Yeah, an effect you caused by enacting the Defense Culpability Act.
Right?
That's a pretty good thing. So I was wondering if I could waste your time with... We have no intention of bestowing any information upon you or any other lawyer. Okay, got it. His own ill will was visited upon him. So it is within the cycle of karma.
Not too caught up by your husband's death, huh?
Others might call it divine retribution, the punishment of the gods. You don't seem particularly sad, even though it was your own husband.
That's what I was saying, Apollo.
We were betrayed by the man we had called husband.
Is she talking about...
Moreover, we are the Grand Priestess, summoner of spirits from the Twilight Realm. For us, death is not the end, for we can still speak with those who have passed. Guess being a spirit-channeling queen gives you a different take on life and death. To burn such a mark upon a sacred text of the law, he will surely be visited by what he has wrought. And to think he once called himself a man of the law. I think it's just his way of objecting to the DC Act. I realize that sounds very simple, but that one law is at the root of all of this. Yet that act is but an objection to his falsified evidence. Was there not something similar recently in your country? How appalling that even now he recognizes no responsibility and knows no shame.
I don't like her at all.
If she's not the culprit, I will be so surprised.
Right? One moment, Your Highness.
Why must you lawyers always do this?
Apollo? What are you doing?
I learned from the best, Mr. Right!
This is the Queen's audience chamber.
And this is the Queen!
You can't snoop around in here. Not while the Queen's there, anyway.
Oh, right! Sorry, forces habit. I wonder what it'd be like to sit there with Athena and Mr. Right groveling at my feet.
Mr. Right, I don't like the smile on his face.
Let it go and... I mean, no, stop! I can't let myself think about that sort of thing right now. What do you mean, inferiority complex?
So!
Your Eminence, Dhurke told me about Amara. About how, you know, she's still alive, that is. We know not of what you speak.
I see.
If she admits it, then that's the end for the trial tomorrow.
Basically, yeah.
After Dhurke learned Amara was still alive, he rescued her, and they ran off together. But she was captured and remains captive in a secret location to this day. As for Nahyuta doing your bidding, it's only because Amara's life is in your hands. What an active imagination you have. I had to do a few more because I was late.
A lawyer and a comedian. How droll.
Droll. It is not a word I hear every day. Where'd they come from?
We're the royal backup laughers. We always hide behind the pillars for when her benevolent the queen. I lied. I'm sorry. I just want the ad-lib.
That's all, folks.
Yeah.
Anyway, if she's gonna play dumb, I'll just have to jog her memory with some evidence that she can't ignore now. I love the instant stop laughing. Like the queen stops laughing.
And then they stop.
And then the royal laughers are like, bing, stop.
They're very well trained.
Your Eminence, I ask that you take a look at this photo. You know, is Apollo really the person who should be doing the talking, though? Isn't he like a kind of a Kurain national in a way?
Well, he's the one who's going to be defending.
Okay, that's true.
Phoenix isn't going to take that from him.
Of course, it's just that, I mean, it just seems that in what appears to essentially be an absolute monarchy, having a person who, legally speaking, was born in Kurain as a Kurainese citizen, like, talk back to the queen, is not as bad as if, say, Phoenix talked back to the queen.
I suppose. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Anyway, it doesn't matter, though.
Well,
It
unless
wouldn't
she
be...
rested for Les Majesté, I just like saying that.
It wouldn't be dramatic otherwise, but...
Why, that's...
It's a photo of Amara. And here you can see a law book bearing the mark of the Defiant Dragons.
Isn't that, for Photoshop? Yeah.
I believe you know what that means.
I hope she doesn't, like, have her guards confiscate it.
You know, that's a good point. If Photoshop were in Ace Attorney, and I'm sure it is, just not in the court of law.
Yeah.
Then it would turn out more like real trials, which aren't nearly as exciting, so keep them out of my video game about lawyers. Very well. Royal Guard, stand down.
Yes, Your Eminence!
Your wish is our command!
Who's that man?
Oh, I realized I did the Dodge voice! Yeah! Dragon snaps! Alley-oop!
He's the royal impersonator.
Oh, I gotta open the door here, hold on! It seems there is no need to perpetuate this charade, Karade, any longer. We shall speak of all we know.
I'm somehow more suspicious.
There's no way that this is going to make it better instead of worse. So then, you admit that Amara is still alive? Yes. She is under our protection, in a safe location. I think you mean being held prisoner. And where is she being kept? Now, why would we tell the son of a traitor that?
I mean, you know, come on.
Guess he has a point there. I may not like it, but I can understand the reasoning quite easily. Now, heed our warning, horned devil.
Oh, that's never good.
It would not be wise to inform the people that Amara yet lives. It would only serve to plunge public order into chaos.
Ah, so what you're saying is to inform everyone that she's still alive. I mean, more chaos than it already is?
Well, into chaos, the horned devil might be being dealt with so generously.
That's true.
Or might not be. I think everyone knew what I was trying to say, but I'm almost positive I didn't say it.
It's fine.
I have no intention of doing that before the trial. Besides, there are real terrorists out there who might try to kill her. Good. Now, there was something we have been meaning to ask you. I said yes to your little demand and did so quite easily, giving up nothing. And now it is time to, as they say in your country, pay the piper. Do you know what has become of the Founder's Orb?
Well, you see, I don't currently have it, which is technically true.
The Founder's Orb went missing after Dhurke took it into the tomb.
Well, that's because the royal guards are very blind.
As his son, we thought you might know something of its current whereabouts. I knew it. I suppose I should thank you for that free running tour of Kurain. That was the Royal Guard's own doing. They acted on their own initiative.
Uh-huh.
Nice try, lady. But now you're definitely not getting the orb. Ever. You nincompoop!
I think that if you called her nincompoop, like her daughter can get away with it, but if you did, that might be.
I'd get away with less than a little more than a katonk.
Yeah.
Why do you want the orb so badly anyway? That's the dumbest question! Because it would be most dangerous in the wrong hands. It must be recovered.
Is the legend true? Can the orb really impart spiritual power? Are you worried that someone could overthrow you with it?
Asking directly, huh? The Holy Mother's power is without equal.
Force fields and such.
Should Her Holiness once again return to our world, she could conceivably bestow great power upon the one who unlocked the orb's secret.
I guess it makes sense, considering spirit channeling is a fact of life
here, and it's pretty common where I'm from too. If you go to the village of crime, and I mean Maya, and I'll just stop mumbling now.
So we ask you, Horn Devil, did you receive the Founder's Orb from Dhurke? I guess he can say, in complete truthfulness, just in the way that she is speaking, no.
Yeah.
Does it look like I did? So, you like to play games, do you?
I like Yahtzee myself.
Royal Guard?
Yes, Your Eminence!
Why is it always you?
The fact of the matter is, everyone else parks up and I drown them out!
That makes sense! Search this devil and his belongings.
Oh God!
What?
At once, Your Eminence!
And this is why you don't carry it with you.
Yeah.
I mean, only an idiot would do that. Don't move! You're only making this harder on yourself! Ah! Hey, cut it out! No, what the? I wonder if we'll get any of the evidence back.
Ooh, that's a good question. Ah, Apollo, don't strip here!
I'm not the one doing this!
Stop resisting! Just submit to our strip search already!
You don't have to enjoy it so much, fella!
I enjoy every facet of my life!
No, wait, hey, cut it out! Ah, give me back my 3DS! Rest in pieces, my poor tattered dignity, as I stand in the throne room in front of the Queen of Kurain, the nation of my
Birth?
and in front of all the royal guards in the throne room, naked. There's no sign of the Founder's Orb, Your Eminence! So, you have hidden it somewhere. No matter. We shall recover it one way or another once you are found guilty of abetting the accused. Dhurke was right. She really is bent on getting the orb, which really shouldn't be surprising to anyone.
Apollo, after what just happened, don't try and think in such a tough manner. I can never look at you the same way again.
Athena! I feel like I might have actually gotten knocked down a rank of seniority. Mother!
Why is there a naked boy in the throne room? It's not Tuesday.
Looks like the princess is back. I'm so ashamed. I took a stroll to try to calm myself, but I still find this situation unacceptable. The people must be informed about Queen Amara. So she does know about that, now at least.
Yeah.
Rayfa, you do not yet possess a clear grasp of how a government and its people interact. There will always be secrets that must be kept from the ignorant masses. You have little faith in our people, Mother. But it is the royal priestess's duty to always speak the truth.
Bam!
And as such, I cannot remain silent.
Uh-oh.
I will not! Yeah.
Uh-oh.
The truth, you say? Your mind has been poisoned by the barbed one.
What? It was an honor and a pleasure, Your Eminence.
Well done, Mr. Wright. We must speak with our child.
Hey, Rayfa, don't you want to follow us around and make sure we're not getting up to something? I think it would be really good if you came with us right now.
It is a mother's duty to discipline her child, after all. Now, if you would excuse us. Discipline? Coming from her, I don't like the sound of that at all. And all the guards marched out with her.
Well, Apollo, let's head back to the safe house for now.
Don't talk about the safe house when probably Laughing Guy or whatever is still within earshot.
My name is Lackey.
Good idea. We need to go over what we found and collect our thoughts because...
And make sure we're not being followed.
Bet the trial's about to start. Ah, you're back.
I brought some disinfectant wipes for you, Edgeworth. Thank you for holding down the fort, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth.
Oh, good. I have really needed these. It's not that I'm a germaphobe, but you have no idea how filthy this place is. It's just not up to our standards. Look at that. That's a lizard hanging from the wall.
Sorry it took so long. Hope you weren't too bored.
I wear a cravat, for goodness sakes. Do you think that I want to interact with lizards hanging on the wall? Well, I watched The Plumed Punisher, Warrior of Neo Twilight Realm, while you were gone.
Isn't he a Steel Samurai fan?
Yes, he'll never admit it. He'll never admit it. But he actually very much likes it, and it's honest and stark portrayal of justice. And my verdict is, it's an outrage! Especially its theme song.
Of course.
Even worse, the people here believe it's an original Koreanese show. Can you believe it? I've already spoken about it at length with Mr. Rebel here. At this rate, I will make my feelings known. I will complain to the major newspapers, and I will speak to the Queen herself if necessary. I'm not sure what he's babbling about, but at least it seemed he wasn't bored.
Moving along to things that actually matter.
Right!
We've gathered all the information and evidence we can concerning this case. I think it's time we go over everything we've learned so far.
Maybe I did overreact just a little bit.
That's fine. Apollo, don't you dare. The orb trial, Maya's abduction, and the murder of the mastermind behind it all, Justice Minister Inga. It's a lot to consider. Think you have all the facts straight in your head?
Our understanding right now is probably as good as it's going to be with what we've currently got.
Would you like me to go over the events of Twilight Murder Mystery Syndrome?
Please do, please do. It's the truth about what really went down that's going to be the problem.
Yeah. It's like the more we learn about this case, the less we understand. I agree. There's a deep darkness enveloping this case. I'm almost afraid of what we will find once we lift that black veil. Do you like how cool and poetic I sound when I'm not the main focus of the game? Huh?
Mr. Wright?
Yeah? Suffice to say, the real killer is certainly waiting underneath.
The real killer, huh? Well, we have our suspicions, but that's the million-dollar question.
Who killed Inga and why? Think, Apollo. Who would you say had a motive to commit this crime?
Queen Garan?
I, for one, am drawing a complete blank. I want to know how the killer slipped into the tomb, killed Inga, and slipped back out, without ever being seen. That's a bona fide locked room mystery right there.
So another option, even if there isn't anything like the face blindness, the what the heck is up with the notebook, even if there isn't anything like that, another thing could be that the reason that we're going to see the hard truth, like Dhurke said, Dhurke's face in the divination seance, is... Well, I was about to say something about channeling Dhurke, but you can't because he's still alive, so never mind.
I mean, what?
Doesn't this just make it closer and closer to what we're thinking? Well, we've collected plenty of evidence and statements. I just hope the rest comes out in court. It'll be a thinner tightrope than usual, that's for sure.
Well, that's why my hair is the way it is, for proper balance on that tightrope.
Is that true, Mr. Wright?
No. This case has one big fly in the ointment. In order to prove Dhurke completely innocent, we'll also have to exonerate him of the crime committed 23 years ago, which, considering the fact that Amara is still alive, shouldn't be that hard.
We might still get a chance to investigate one more time. Amara's supposed assassination. How do we prove that he didn't assassinate her, even though we know everybody involved, except the judge, knows that she's alive? It seems like that's the easiest thing in the world to prove.
Right, we know Amara's still alive. but Dhurke could still be charged with plotting to kill her.
Fair point. He couldn't discover the truth even after over 2 decades of investigating.
And we've seen how good his investigating is.
Uh-huh.
God tier.
So our biggest hurdle is going to be the complete lack of evidence. The fire made sure of that.
Mr. Wright, have you ever won a case without any evidence? No, that's one thing I've never done before.
There was that one time that just might keep getting referenced by Phoenix and Edgeworth, and I'll say it from time to time, but that wasn't really his fault. A trial unprecedented even in the decorated annals of the Write Anything Agency.
Don't talk to me about annals.
What does that mean? Still, I can't help but wonder, was there really no evidence left behind?
Oh, and we can't forget about the Defense Culpability Act. Those who would support criminals will be deemed just as guilty. In short, if Dhurke is found guilty and is sentenced to death,
All of us die.
we'll likely join him in a very public execution.
Yeah.
Beat the charges or die. If we've ever been in a corner before, this is probably the corneriest corner. What kind of crazy upside-down legal system is this anyway?
The one that has had a rebellion going on for 20 years and had a mob outside the palace this afternoon.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I can't ask someone as young as you to risk your life, Athena. So tomorrow, it'll just be me and Apollo on the courtroom floor.
Oh.
But you can support us by watching from the gallery.
I don't think she'll allow it. I understand exactly what Phoenix wants to do. Like, the risk is too great.
Well, he's a father too, you know.
Yeah. Like, no, we're not all dying,
Right.
but she's not going to let him do it.
What? No. I want to help. I'm part of the agency too, after all.
Even if she does agree to it, she's going to jump in at a crucial moment.
Yeah. And we'll probably need her.
Yeah.
Her
Yeah.
her side,
Agreed.
whatever that thing she does. Sorry, but this is a direct order from your boss. Plus, there's Prosecutor Blackquill to think of.
Well, not just Prosecutor Blackquill.
He said he'd use me for sword practice if I put you in harm's way.
Fortunately, if you're dead, he can't do that.
Simon! Well, at least promise me this, you two. Promise me you'll make it back alive.
Make it back alive. Huh?
What's with that face, Apollo? You'll never inspire confidence in your client like that. And it'll play right into the prosecution's hands. Remember, the worst of times are when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles.
You're right. Even when it seems hopeless, or when there's not a shred of evidence to be found, we can never let it show on our faces. That's our role as lawyers. Right, Nahyuta? But will I actually be able to do that tomorrow? When push comes to shove, will I be able to force my biggest smile? Well, here we go. The start of the final trial.
I wonder if Garon's going to do the divination. Oh, well, I mean... Oh, I thought that was like a I surrender flag or something.
Well, this is something of a big event, isn't it? I guess this trial really is going to be the entire system on trial.
Basically, yeah.
There may yet be one more day of trial, but this is the last trial.
It's complete chaos outside. Let's just say the Defiant Dragon supporters demonstrating for Dhurke's freedom have taken a very special interest in the outcome of today's trial.
For some reason. They look about ready to string us up if we lose.
We can't win no matter what happens, really. I mean, trials here are pretty much like the ones back home, but with one major difference. The divination seance. The victim's final memories will become a matter for deliberation.
What? I've heard about that.
You should!
But they haven't stopped you from winning your cases here in Kurain.
Well, I don't like to brag. True, but it wasn't easy.
Yeah, he just casually says as he's like the first lawyer to have won not one, but two, and maybe, depending on how you look at it, three
Yeah.
cases, the only one in 23 years.
Still, the memories of the dead are simply another piece of evidence.
That comes from Dhurke.
There's always a way to deal with them if your client is truly innocent.
Well, I know Dhurke is innocent, but...
And that's part of the reason why I need to be your assistant instead of Athena. I have one more big secret.
Oh, that makes sense.
Apollo, in court tomorrow, you may find yourself faced with a truth that is difficult to accept. But I know you, and I know you can handle the truth no matter what it turns out to be. I know that because I believe in you. You're my son, after all.
Dhurke, what is that secret you're keeping? Hey, AJ!
I'm surprised that the guards aren't arresting you.
Here you go. Just like I promised. I hope the trial goes on without this being seized in the middle of it.
Isn't that the famous Rebel Dot's a rebel?
Isn't that the Founder's Orb? I mean, when we throw this thing out, everyone in the trial is gonna be like... Thanks, Dots. I mean, talk about a show. Wait, weren't you arrested by the police yesterday?
Oh, he gets arrested all the time.
Oh, I get arrested almost twice a week. And I spent the night in the slammer. Had a fine meal, a shower, even a bed. What more can I ask for?
Oh my God. That actually sounds way better than where we're staying.
That's why I did it. Do you think I don't plan these things out?
Who needs to stay at a hotel?
Just remember, AJ, if Dhurke's found guilty today, we'll all probably be found guilty under the Defense Culpability Act.
No pressure.
Yeah. Nahyuta said something to that effect. That witch Garan wants to take advantage of today to crush our revolution once and for all. The fate of the revolution and every Kuryanese person rests on this trial. We're counting on you, AJ. We'll be fine. I'm going to win this one. You'll see.
The trial will begin shortly, Apollo. Let's make our way into the courtroom.
Right.
Oh dear, 2 lawyers.
Man, we had this cast all backwards. Well, you know, I was thinking that the penultimate trial was actually going to be Phoenix versus Nahyuta, but it turns out this game is about Apollo.
Let the trial of Dhurke Sadmati begin.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Majesty.
Oh yeah, Apollo, you're supposed to call him your majesty.
What's the difference? So it's really come down to this. Well, don't expect me to hold anything back, Nahyuta.
This trial will examine both the murder of Justice Minister Inga Karkul Kurain and the assassination of the former queen, Amara Sigatar Kurain. First, I believe we should address the murder of Minister Inga. Would that be acceptable, Prosecutor Sadmati?
Prosecutor Sadmati?
No, that's my line. Prosecutor Sadmati?
No, I was saying that!
He was distracted.
Yes, of course. Please proceed. What's with him?
How very unlike you, Prosecutor. Is your mind elsewhere this day?
Not at all, Your Majesty.
Are you sure if I can notice it?
Are you really gonna be able to go through with this, Nahyuta?
Well, Prosecutor Sadmati, I would be remiss if I failed to voice a concern of mine. I have heard mention that you are son to the accused, Dhurke Sadmati.
Thank you for bringing this up.
Well, I actually care about justice.
You have heard true. Does that fact pose some sort of a problem, Your Majesty?
A father being prosecuted by his own son? Could one possibly deliberate such a case without having personal feelings intervene? Yes, I am genuinely concerned about you.
Yes, Without question.
Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
And that's always how the judge is, isn't it? That's always how the judge is. Every so often he'll come in hard and then, fold at the end.
Dhurke objected.
Dhurke.
Fellow citizens, you would do well not to underestimate my son. He's not one to allow personal feelings to interfere with the execution of his duty.
And in the end,
Isn't that right, Nahyuta?
he understood it completely. Isn't this, in some ways, this is not only the greatest validation for Nahyuta, but also the greatest block. Like, don't you think? Don't you think this not only gives him strength, but can actually shake him a bit?
Yeah, because it means he has to hold on to his framework tighter now, sort of.
Something
the
like that.
persona he's kind of constructed to protect himself.
If we're right about that, but yeah, absolutely. Nice. Very well done. I will not stop until my work here is done.
See? So all you doubters, just sit back down before you trip over your own stupidity.
He said he will not stop here until his work is done. Now, there's a couple of ways you can interpret that.
Uh-huh.
The accused will not take the stand without first being summoned.
Too bad, not in this trial, buddy. He'll do what he wants.
In any case, if Prosecutor Sadmati has no issue with this arrangement, then let us commence the deliberations.
Though,
Whoa!
well, one moment, if you would.
But Your Eminence?
Of course she's going to be at this trial.
Uh-huh.
Your Eminence, what brings you here?
Ho-ho!
She
Oh no.
is a prosecutor.
Yeah, she was a former chief of justice.
She was the chief minister of justice. It seems to me that she certainly is qualified to prosecute this case.
Is she going to just override Nahyuta?
Your Majesty, it would appear that Prosecutor Sadmati does indeed have some reservations. No, that's not true. Did you truly believe you could deceive me, Nahyuta Sadmati? One should hold no reservations if one is to stand on these hallowed funerary grounds. I have none, Your Eminence. No. It is clear we cannot leave this matter to you.
Did she set this up just to discredit him?
Maybe she did. We shall handle the prosecution of enemy of the crown, Dhurke Sadmati, personally. But remain by our side, and bear witness to how a true prosecutor enforces the law. Excuse me, but is the Queen going to prosecute the case? Is that, kosher?
I don't know what that means.
A slightly different religion. There is no need for concern.
I disagree.
Before we were crowned queen, we served as a prosecutor. Really?
As a foreigner, your ignorance can be excused. But know this. The prosecutor in charge of the Queen Amara assassin case 23 years ago was none other than Her Eminence, Queen Garan Sigatar Kurai.
First your Majesty, and now this? Why doesn't anyone ever tell me these things? And I don't think I'm technically a foreigner.
I'm sorry, Apollo, I can't whistle nonchalantly.
I'd heard she served as a minister of justice. She was also a prosecutor?
I'm guessing she probably moved up the ladder from prosecutor to justice minister. We prosecuted that case 23 years ago, but no verdict was ever rendered. We had one guilty verdict in every case until then, for no lawyer could stand up to us.
Man, if the judge was ever on the prosecutor's court before.
Side, you mean?
We're in a courtroom. Ah, I am at a loss for words. To think I would once more bear witness to her eminence at work in the Hall of Justice.
Judge has a crush. Judge has a
Shut up. I
crush.
do not.
Our first trial in 23 years. No quarter shall be given to criminals. We shall prosecute them with all our might.
I mean, you weren't kidding about how severe this is.
What the heck?
What is going on?
And who rehearsed this? When did they have time to rehearse that? That's freaking Rose from Street Fighter Alpha! I mean, it's like the Capcom character designer, so that makes sense. What the? That's Queen Garon's true form? Is she going to reflect it if I throw a projectile at her?
Don't worry, Apollo. We're not the ones who throw projectiles. We're the ones who get them thrown at us.
Oh, thank goodness.
Watch out for her spirit bomb. Talk about an extreme makeover. Oh my god!
It's all coming back now. The feel of my blood pumping through my veins.
And now she's talking in like my instead of we.
Yes. Woe to you, O enemies of Kurain, for I shall personally slice, dice, and grind you up into hog feed. I don't suppose I could ask her to roll back to her polite pre-makeover personality.
One moment, I have to check something. Oh, I'm kind of sad.
And also relieved.
At the same time.
Know this, lawyer. Yes? Now that I stand as prosecutor, consider your defense's bench a headsman's scaffold. If you wish to leave any last words, I advise you to start thinking of them now. While you still have a head with which to think, that is.
Is she going to like summon a tornado to blast us or something?
It kind of looks that way, doesn't it? Beep. She's dead serious. I legitimately think she's going to kill me. Now, it is time for the divination seance. Rayfa, come forth.
Man, poor kid.
Freaking poor Rayfa.
Your benevolence. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
If Dhurke is actually her biological father,
Yeah.
this is even worse for her than it was before, and it was already worse for her than almost anyone else.
Your benevolence? I understand it may be difficult for you, but may we proceed with the divination seance?
Yes, let us proceed.
Oh, who's going to take her cloak?
Forgive me for asking, but are you feeling physically unwell? If so, I would advise you to avoid any undue exertion.
I really want to know who's gonna take her cloak.
But your benevolence?
What's wrong? It's like her mind's anywhere but here.
Well, if after dealing with frickin' Garon, a lot's happened since yesterday.
It's amazing she was able to keep it up as long as she did, when it did.
And was still able to confront her mother about everything.
But at this point, it's like all her reserves are out. And that's not to say ill of her at all.
On top of the murder of her beloved father, she found out that he'd been planning a coup.
Which is totally true!
And there's more!
And today she'll have to experience his death through his own eyes.
Yeah. That would be enough to shake anyone up.
Still, it seems like she's worse off today than she was yesterday.
Yeah. I don't remember her being this depressed. You can only hold it together for so long.
She's 14.
We must speak with our child. It is a mother's duty to discipline her child, after all. Now, if you would excuse us. Discipline? Coming from her, I don't like the sound of that at all. Wait. Garan didn't do something to her, did she?
I don't like that implication.
Your Eminence, about today's divination seance. As I understand it, the prosecution is yet to review its content. Is this deviation from protocol a part of your plan?
Prosecutor Sadmati, would you care to explain your actions? Your Eminence, the accused was caught at the scene of the crime. Therefore, I deemed no seance would be necessary for such a clear-cut case.
You know, I just realized the thing he's wearing on his head is diamond-shaped, like the markings on Amara.
To be fair, Garan is also wearing the same thing that Sadmati is, a slightly different design, but now she's wearing something like that too.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the only time there would not have been a divination seance, and he was like, "It's not necessary."
That's not suspicious, is it?
It looks like even though Nahyuta does want to carry out his duty, and Dhurke believes that his son will carry out his duty regardless of his personal feelings, Nahyuta may not actually be able to do that, or in this case, his duty and his work mean something else.
Yeah.
And that's what he's performing. Good God! She's like a last boss, because she is.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder if, like, whenever she's not doing states, like the state of affairs stuff, like, you know, courtroom, like the palace hours are over, and she just, like, turns into that when she's at home.
You and your bleeding heart. I think anybody would bleed if you look at those claws. And she's calling Nahyuta a bleeding heart?
Right?
The cold monster Nahyuta Sadmati?
Well, by comparison.
By comparison. You seek to spare Rayfa the trauma of witnessing her father's death. Is that why you have done this? Not at all. You were concerned for me, Prosecutor Sadmati? That's oddly compassionate of him, all things considered. Your Eminence, Your Majesty, regardless of what is best for her benevolence, this case is blessed with a bounty of incontrovertible evidence. So I believe we can reach a swift verdict without devoting precious time to a seance.
You have a point. Personally, I would like to spare her benevolence any undue misery. Experiencing the murder of a loved one is a burden no one should have to bear.
Prosecutor Sadmati, Your Majesty, can this trial truly proceed without a divination seance? I can't blame her for not wanting to experience her father's murder firsthand.
Your Eminence? What are your feelings on the matter? I ask, already knowing. Shall we have her benevolence return home for some much-needed rest?
I get this. I understand this, Your Majesty. But maybe you shouldn't continuously defer to the Queen here.
Well, if she's heading up the prosecution now.
I understand that, and that there is a mob of people here protesting the system as the revolution is gaining new popularity and new steam, as Dhurke Sadmati is becoming a more popular public figure, and the Queen is now the one leading the prosecution. And then in that circumstance, if the judge continuously defers to the Queen, do you think anybody is going to be happy with that? Doesn't that just confirm their convictions more strongly? But I can understand where we're going at with this.
Please don't rip out my soul.
We shall not. You fools spoil her with your feckless words of compassion. Listen well, Rayfa. You have spoken time and time again about how grown up you are now. Yes, but... So, let us see if the royal priestess has truly come into her own. Are you prepared to fulfill your duty and perform the divination seance as you should? Yes. That's better. See? Problem solved.
Good lord!
That's why you should listen to your mother.
Ooh.
Poor Rayfa. Is this really a good idea?
I guess we'll see. I mean, we do kind of need it as evidence.
Very well. Let us begin the divination seance. Nana, my robe.
Oh,
Oh,
looks like Nana's still missing.
that just makes it so much more suspicious.
I know!
A better way for Rayfa to look at this is that this divination seance is going to provide the defense, eventually,
Yeah.
with everything we need to avenge her father.
Yes!
It's been a whole day already. Bobbed head,
Yes?
you remove my robe.
Oh, she asked Phoenix.
Yeah.
What? Why me? I mean, I could try, but don't expect me to just glide across the floor like Nana does.
Why? Because she trusts you.
I know.
Don't keep her benevolence waiting now, Mr. Wright. Can't you see she's ready to begin?
Great. I've been reduced to royal robe remover.
It's like she's grooming Mr. Wright to be Nana's replacement?
I didn't ask for this, but I'm not going to argue either.
Is it his lot in life? Is it some pheromone thing?
Dang! I kind of wanted him to slide over, take off the robe, and slide back. Pheromones?
Something about teenage girls trusting Phoenix Wright.
Very well, Your Benevolence. Please start when you are ready.
Come, Rayfa. You know what must be done. There is no turning back now. I know. The final memories of the deceased. This should be interesting.
O Holy Mother, we hold this divination seance in your name. Let the eyes of everyone here be clear and our ears be unstopped. O dance of devotion, guide the victim's soul to me, so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
Do you suppose she'll actually be able to succeed? If there's one she's gonna fail for reasons other than the requirements, like the last one, if there's one she was gonna fail, could it be this one?
Maybe. I think she's going to succeed. Okay, let's see how immediately incriminating this is.
Oh, I'm sure it's gonna be horrible, but we can deal with it.
Oh! Look at her eyes.
Yeah. I guess I was right. Rayfa.
Your benevolence! What's wrong?
This is unacceptable.
Bailiff, take your benevolence to the first aid station at once.
This is not good. Rayfa.
The strain was just too much for her, I guess.
She's just always the person suffering the most.
Your Eminence, do you have any idea why her benevolence collapsed so suddenly?
It seems she was not ready for what the deceased was to reveal. It overwhelmed her. Her inexperience and immaturity left her ill-prepared to face her father's death. And here she is, on the dang stand. This is supposed to be, we don't think it is, but this is supposed to be her daughter. And all she's doing is just tearing her down.
Well, it makes sense if she's not her daughter that she would have this sort of reaction to her.
Huh. She said she could go through with it. Now, very disappointing.
At your insistence!
At your insistence, she's just tearing her down, kind of like so she could replace her or something.
Just like she kind of set up Nahyuta to sort of discredit him a little bit.
She really is trying to set up everybody with some legitimate tie to the previous queen.
Right?
To just look extremely bad because it needs to be her or whatever. She is too cruel. Consider this. Maybe we're wrong, okay? But based on that photo and Rayfa's reaction and it being in Inga's safe,
right? We
don't think that Garan is Rayfa's mother.
Right.
That may be wrong, but since that's what we think right now, Apollo's foster father is Dhurke. Not biological,
right?
Foster father. And there's been how much establishing of Dhurke as super dad? Or at least I missed a lot and I'm going to darn well make up for it with everything I have. Okay?
120%.
Then we have Inga, who seems to be a bad guy, and Rayfa may not be his actual daughter, but if that's the case, it's his foster daughter. A man as nasty as Inga thinks of his daughter as his greatest treasure.
Yeah.
And no wonder she sort of inherited his personality.
Right.
And then we have a foster mother who's nothing but cruel and hateful towards her foster child, compared to two real foster parents.
So she'd have to be the final villain of Spirit of Dad.
Yeah. I know someone who's not winning Mother of the Year ever. I mean, of course Rayfa's gonna be overwhelmed. She's still just a child. It seems we have no choice but to move on to witness testimony. Your Majesty.
Oh yes. Let us proceed. Bailiff, summon the first witness if you would.
Judge, don't lose control of this trial.
Oh, I never had control.
Well, maybe you didn't have to say it like that.
Is this not the accused?
It is indeed. I thought I would give him the opportunity to plead his case. For true justice is more than a unilateral presentation of the facts by the prosecution. That seems uncharacteristically fair of her.
I know, I'm suspicious.
It's so she can destroy him, too.
Yeah.
However, should the accused fail to produce convincing testimony, he, along with his cabal of traitorous lawyers, shall immediately be found guilty, and their heads will roll from their shoulders. What? You can't. The judge is the one who's supposed to declare the verdict.
Yeah!
You're trying to do an all or nothing in this one testimony? I should have known there was a catch.
Your court, your rules.
Same as it always was, I see, Garan.
Old enemies, the two of them.
Now then,
Mr. Dhurke Sadmati, if you could enlighten us as to what happened?
well,
I would, if I could. I mean, I kind of don't remember.
I guess it's not even impossible that he could have actually done it. We don't think so.
I was struck by sudden dizziness the moment I entered the tomb. The next thing I knew, I was standing there with a bloody knife in my hand. And lying right in front of me was Inga, dead as a doornail.
I've no recollection of what happened in the interim.
But I didn't kill him.
At least I don't think I did.
It'd go against everything I believe in.
Now.
Okay, we're off to a great start. That didn't explain squat, and I can feel my head floating above my neck as we speak. For the record, let it be known that the accused's fingerprints were all over the murder weapon. And since he was caught in the act, there was no chance for a third party to tamper with it.
Well, that certainly seems to point the finger at you, Mr. Sadmati.
Even as a lawyer, I have to agree with you there, Your Majesty.
Seriously, Dhurke? This is no laughing matter!
Objection! It's always a laughing matter, except it's not. This is exactly what Garan wanted. To have Dhurke try to plead his case, only to fail miserably.
How low can she go? Prosecutor, behold this most unpleasant of spectacles, and let it be etched into your soul. See how instead of accepting the inevitable, those fish-brained lawyers flounder and flop themselves straight into the abyss of despair?
Is that going to be her shtick, fish?
Yes, Your Eminence. Show me the way.
Now then, would the defense please begin their cross-examination?
I was struck by sudden dizziness the moment I entered the tomb.
You were struck by a sudden dizziness? This seems important. Like, why don't we talk about this? Was it because of his illness?
That's a probable reason.
Is that something that's ever happened to you before?
Can't say that it has. Maybe age is catching up with me. I'm no spring chicken after all.
That's not the issue here, and you're 46? You're 46? The average lifespan of people in developed countries is over 80! You're 46! Huh. A most cunning excuse, one befitting an insidious insurgent.
Oh?
A killer who does not recall his crime. How very convenient. Next, I imagine you will plead insanity.
Would that work?
You aim to seek a lesser sentence through excuses and subterfuge, do you not? Pleading it down is a very valid case.
Don't make me laugh, your malevolence.
Oh, you wound me to the quick. How dare you?
I'm merely stating my innocence. I've no intention of offering excuses. Least of all to you. It's your baseless speculation I would decry as foolish. You deceitful witch.
How dare you call me a witch? What makes you think I am a witch? Is it my evil spider leg hair floating behind me of its own accord? Or my claws?
Round 2, fight!
Is it your wish that I should claim your head right now in this very hall? With those aforementioned claws?
Well, that would certainly speed things along.
Are we done? Are we done? Dhurke,
Oh, this takes me back.
I don't think you're doing a very good job at being your own lawyer this time. Why don't you let me handle it from here instead of trying to start a fist fight? Though, speaking as a representative of the Write Anything agency, perhaps lawyers should defend themselves against, malicious prosecutors more, firing projectiles, etc. And if there's anything you need to say, you can say it through me, okay? Anything to stop you from needling the Queen! Huh. Next time you have an objection, you'd better have some proof to go with it, Dhurke.
Next time you have an objection, use the proof.
Are you mocking me?
I wouldn't dream of it. The accused will continue with what he does recall of the crime, please? I'm scared of the Queen. The next thing I knew, I was standing there with a bloody knife in my hand.
Do you recall anyone putting the knife in your hand, Dhurke? That would sure be nice if you did.
Wish I could say I did, but I don't remember a thing from before I came to. You think there might have been a third party in the tomb, son?
I sure do, because if there wasn't, we're all boned. Yeah, because if you didn't do it, then the real killer must have been there with you.
Yeah? You just want to shout objection?
You called your evidence!
Does she go anywhere without those goons?
Did someone call for me?
Oh wait, she's the Queen. Yeah, I bet one of them is goon.
And then we've got Mook, like we were talking about earlier. And Crony.
Was there a third party in the tomb when you were securing it?
No, your evidence! We searched high and low, but found no one of the sort!
Objection! Conflict of interest! Your Majesty! Never mind the fact that we've already established that the prosecutor... Hey! Isn't prosecuting. Okay, back to the conflict of interest objection, then. And there you have it. I mean, are they under oath? Are they on the stand?
All right, they did search the place.
Is that testimony?
And they should actually totally 100% be trusted.
Is that a statement? Whose statement is it? Lackey's? Does that mean that if Lackey is lying, he committed perjury? I mean, just because she's the Queen... Furthermore...
There's been a huge degree of lawyers kind of BSing, and this is probably the biggest one.
You mean of prosecutors BSing?
What did I say?
Lawyers.
I meant to say prosecutors, yes.
At least from what I remember.
This is a pretty amazing level of BS. I mean, the prosecutor normally isn't the monarch of your absolute monarchy, so... Furthermore, my guards had the entire tomb surrounded, so there was no way for anyone to escape.
That's right! No one got in or out without our knowledge!
To be fair, we did know that we were there too, so... Her Eminence's on-site directives were absolutely flawless! Urdi Hara Garan! Do you see now? The presence of a third party is beyond the realm of possibility. The tomb was, for all intents and purposes...
You gonna say spotless?
completely sealed off from the rest of the world.
What a waste of time.
How can it be any more obvious? Dhurke must be the killer. Hey, what about all the revolutionaries up there? Thanks for nothing, gallery guy.
You're welcome.
As if our graves weren't already deep enough. Accused, what do you believe about the possible presence of a third party?
Well, I know my son has proof to the contrary. Well, based on the situation you presented,
I mean, we do have evidence indicating there was a third party there.
I'd say the chances are slim to none.
You didn't have to agree with her, or so easily, Dhurke. Let the accused statement be added to his testimony, so we can refute it in a minute!
Very well, Mr. Sadmati, if you would.
It's like the more we press, the thinner our case gets.
Well, that's generally how it is with pressing things. You know, you just smush it out, make it flatter, and, well, let's keep pressing, and maybe we'll work out the wrinkles in it, too.
Mr. Wright, I learned how to press every statement from you.
And lying right in front of me was Inga, dead as a doornail.
You stated that he was as dead as a doornail. How can you be so sure that doornails are really dead?
It's pretty easy to spot the difference between a soulless man and the soulless shell of a man. His complexion, the amount of blood at the scene made it obvious which it was.
Watch your words, or you shall join Minister Inga much sooner than expected. You can bow your head before him and seek his forgiveness there in the Twilight Realm. If you still have a head to bow, that is.
You bloodthirsty spider. What happened to you? There was still a little love in your heart 23 years ago.
I killed it myself with
You even-
my bare hands.
You even used to think of me as a brother.
Well, then I became queen. I had a taste for power and I wanted more of it. It seems you truly do have a death wish.
Is that really all you've got?
Dhurke! I'm begging you, enough of the lip! Just deliver your testimony, please!
All right. I'll try, but I can't promise anything, even though I've already given you what you need.
That is true, I guess.
I have no recollection of what happened in the interim.
A day's passed since the murder. Haven't you remembered anything in that time?
My memory is a complete blank. It's as if that part of my brain has been scooped right out.
How very convenient. But even if you've no memory of the event, your guilt is without question. There is nothing more to debate.
You're forgetting one thing, Garan. I have no motive.
You lead a band of insurgents that seeks to overthrow the government.
Oh, well,
The Minister of Justice was the head of a set of secret police that has been targeting your group for years.
Well, when you put it like that, I mean...
I would say that alone is motive enough to slay our kingdom's Minister of Justice.
I've declared countless times that I lead a bloodless revolution.
Yeah, the only blood is the blood they've shed.
I forbid violence and murder, even if some younger members may have a thirst for blood. Dots.
A bloodless revolution. He wouldn't really have a motive in that case. And I guess if there haven't been any examples of people of like any violence having been done by rebels, that does bolster this. Is that an important statement? I'm gonna say right now it isn't.
It isn't?
Well, I mean, I guess it is, but it just seems like the other one. Go ahead and take it. We might have to go back and get the other one. We'll see. That was an important statement. I'd like my client to add it to his testimony.
Very well, then. The accused will please do as the defense has requested. I don't know why I'm even here. I mean, honestly, between the Queen and the defense...
Oi, your Majesty!
Okay, I'm sorry. But I didn't kill him. At least I don't think I did. It'd go against everything I believe in.
Can you state that you didn't kill him more definitively? If that's all we've got, it's all we've got!
How can I when I have no memory of what happened?
Well, can you at least state whether or not you are a murderer?
That I can do. I am not a murderer, and I would never kill anyone, no matter the circumstances.
Isn't that good enough? And do you have any evidence to support your claim that you did not kill the minister?
Evidence? No, can't say I do.
Dhurke, you could have at least said, the evidence I have that I'm not a murderer is that I haven't murdered anybody. But in that case, you will strike the statement, I didn't kill him, from your testimony. That is what we are here to prove. Wait, you can't just discard testimony like that. It's like we're in a real court of law now. I mean, I'm the one cross-examining the defendant and all. Hold your prattling tongue, foreign devil. I am the queen of this kingdom, and the queen is the law. As such, I need not follow the laws that are in place.
Oi!
I can make and break them at will, which, now that I say it out loud, may be possibly why there is a revolution against my rule. But we won't worry about that detail at present.
Literally outside the courtroom!
Now hold on a minute. Henceforth, the accused will refrain from stating I didn't kill him, because I'm the judge. I'm the prosecution's pet.
Your Majesty, come back to the way you used to be!
Sure, whatever. It's the Garage show after all. Same as always.
Okay, so, did this actually change? Well, what the heck? Press it!
Though, I guess there's no evidence that proves I didn't kill him either.
Dirk, leave the evidence finding to me, okay? Now please, will you stop agreeing with everything the prosecution says? Can't you deny things a bit harder? You're the defendant!
Alright, I'll stick to the facts from now on.
But remember, son, if you truly believe in me, you should be able to prove my innocence. I know you can do it. However hard I'm making it on you.
He believes I'll prove him innocent, and he's sure trying his best to prove himself guilty. Even with all these inconvenient truths? Is that what he's saying?
I think Dirk might be onto something. Even the most disadvantageous facts may point the way to the truth. So don't ignore them. Think of them as food for thought.
Don't worry, I know. The worst of times are when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles. I need to remember that, no matter how difficult the facts may be to deal with.
If only we could establish the possibility of a third party.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure.
Hint, hint, hint.
But does the possibility itself even exist?
We don't have a choice. Proving it exists is the only way to start a real dialogue here. I think we need to present the blood at the Bloodless Revolution.
Yeah, that's right. Well, not at the Bloodless Revolution, but at the third-party stuff. Let's go through and press the statements that were added.
Yeah. The possibility of a third party being there in the tomb is probably non-existent.
We can't prove you innocent without at least a possibility that a third party was there.
Find the possible in the impossible, son. That's just what a lawyer's got to do sometimes.
You mean open his court record and look for evidence?
That's what I said, isn't it?
Isn't that right?
Right?
Are we really doing this again?
Who, me?
Yeah, you could say that. I've seen more than my fair share of trials like that. They'd start with no viable evidence, useful testimony, or any hope of winning. But through cold sweat, desperation, and a little luck, I always managed to pull them off. Right. I can see we are kindred spirits, you and I.
Geez, taking cases like that must shave years off your life. Is that what happened to your back?
If that were true, I'd be long dead.
Find the possible in the impossible. Can I prove that it was at least possible that there was a third party there? Hint, hint.
Yeah, I think you're right. The blood on that one.
Dirk, what did you see at the scene of the crime?
Let's see. I came to... And you've already pressed this statement. I don't have a motive for killing Inga. After all, me and my ilk seek a bloodless revolution.
Trying to say that's wrong would be like trying to say... You seek violence?
Yeah, you're right.
A bloodless revolution? Could you be more specific? Because this is really important, even though it's not the thing we have to contradict.
I'm talking about dragging this pompous prosecutor here off her bloody throne. So go ahead, Garan. Act all high and mighty now, because it's the last chance you'll get.
You still speak of rebellion. Despite the charges against you, you truly are a fool.
A dragon never yields.
I will prove your guilt soon enough, and display your head for all of Kurain to see. Talking like that is how you can understand I am a fair prosecutor. People will forever speak of you, not as a revolutionary, but as the terrorist you are.
You're mistaken. Your maleficence.
She does kind of look like Maleficent a bit, too.
It will be you the people will speak of. As the tyrant who was overthrown by her own people.
Basically, we're kind of litigating the entire system, and in fact, even the history of Kurain. Or the future, I suppose.
Yeah.
I wonder if you will still be spewing such nonsense before the headsman's axe.
I'm afraid I'll still be like this in the afterlife, despot.
I know that self-restraint is as foreign as apple pie to Dhurke, but
Ooh,
hey,
apple pie sounds good.
that's a good line, actually. I'd really rather go home than to the Twilight Realm after this, so will you please stop? The possibility of victory may be probably non-existent, but
we'll have to find out if it exists or not in the next episode.
You're